Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum against AEW Dynamite. This is from September 1st, 2021, the go-home show for the pay-per-view this Sunday, which looks to be a great one. And boy, did they do a good job putting everything over. Of course, they still have Rampage on Friday, which will do that to a lesser extent. But this is definitely their big go-home show. And then after Rampage, you're also going to have Countdown to All Out. So that's great stuff. We open with FTR with Tully against Santana and Ortiz. Something definitely feels like it goes, I don't know. The match was incredibly good, of course, but something felt a little off about that finish. But at the end of the day, Santana and Ortiz win with like a tilt-a-whirl thing. And then 2.0 and Daniel Garcia are heard from. A good open, as they tend to do. No exception here. Commercial break, we go back. CM Punk cuts a promo, and it's a feel-good promo, and they settle the crowd in, and then Garcia and 2.0 jump him and brutalize him. It looked fantastic. It was a shock. It was surprising. It was an interesting thing to do with Punk. And then Darby and Sting show up. Sting cuts a promo towards CM Punk, which was really great, saying how much he's looking forward to the match betwixt CM Punk and Darby. Then we get a little package about Omega and Christian for the pay-per-view. We go to commercial, and then we come back, and we get a kind of a long interview with MJF, talking about how much it will mean to beat Chris Jericho and end his career. Very good stuff. Match number 2, Orange Cassidy against Jack Evans. Orange Cassidy wins during the break with a small package. So the first time they've really done that. I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but they did it during the picture-in-picture. Matt Hardy then attacks. The best friends come to help. Then the Hardy Family Office in Force comes out, and then Jurassic Express comes out. So the theme of the night was multiple times where a ton of people came into the ring. AEW just cannot avoid doing the same tropes repeatedly in a show. It is just one of those things where it's diminishing returns and they don't see it. It's a major problem. They're going to have to eventually address that. They're just going to have to. John Moxley talks about Satoshi Kojima. And that is mighty cool. Oh, by the way, we get a package. We get an Eddie Kingston promo, of course, and then a short Miro promo to set up their match. JR talks to Chris Jericho. It's a very good promo about the importance of this match and how it could be the end of his AEW in-ring active career. Darby cuts a good promo. Normally when Darby talks for a long period of time, it doesn't work. This one definitely did, talking about CM Punk. The poignant lines of, CM Punk, if I was 15, you'd be my favorite wrestler. And then Darby admitting that CM Punk was his favorite wrestler. And then when CM Punk left wrestling, Darby started. Really cool stuff. Match number 3, Powerhouse Hobbs with Hook against Brian Cage. Pretty by-the-number stuff. Nothing too great. Hook is putting on muscle. That's obvious. They wrestle through the commercial break, and at the end of the day, Hook takes the ref FTW title to the Dome by Ricky Starks to Brian Cage, and Powerhouse Hobbs manages to get him up in his finisher, the Emerald Fusion, or whatever he calls it. He calls it something else. Malachi Black talks a really cool little promo about what he's going to do to Lee Johnson and putting the coins on his eyes for the ferryman and all that good stuff. It was really good. QT in the Factory, oh boy. Call out Paul White. Paul White kind of lays everybody out one by one. It looked pretty crappy. The cells, the sort of nonsensical moving into spots so Paul White could do it to them. It didn't look great. And then the Gun Club came to the ring after Paul White had beaten everybody up and sent them out of the ring, which made me think, oh, they're going to turn on him. But then I went, that makes no sense. But then Billy Gunn turns on him and hits him with a chair shot to the hip. They kept making a big deal about that shot to the back, which they're going to say it's the hip. That's the one that got replaced. And then a shot to the head, which looked really good. And then QT comes in. They muster Paul White to his feet, and then he hits him with the diamond cutter. Okay. They announced during the commercial break we're going to have that countdown to All Out on Friday at 11. So that would be after Rampage. Tony is there talking with Britt Baker, and she explains that Reba and Jamie are both going to be in that pre-show, pre-pay-per-view battle royal to get the title shot, and basically dismisses Reba as there's no way she's going to win. And then, but when Jamie wins, then I don't have to worry because Jamie's my girl, etc., etc., etc. And then Britt Baker talks about the big star that signed up and will be around for a long time, sort of alluding that it might be Adam Cole, but she says it is me, which made me laugh pretty hard. And on Friday, Reba and Jamie are going to take on Chris Statlander in a handicap match, which they do incredibly rarely in AEW. But this is obviously a good last-ditch thing to put more onus on Chris Statlander, which is cool. Match number 4, Penelope with the Bunny. I think that's a cool team. Against Tay Conti. Really good finish where Tay Conti learned from what happened to her last time against the Bunny. And she gets a roll up, which is but then she turns into this cool back bridge thing across the legs, which looked awesome. And then Penelope and Bunny beat her up, and Anna Jay comes out in a really great moment, and I think it's appropriate to do it on Dynamite as opposed to the pay-per-view, and it's really, really cool. I was really happy about that. Alex Marvez is talking to Thunder Rosa. Nyla and Jade come out before Thunder Rosa can really say anything. Thunder Rosa goes out swinging, but goes out indeed, as Jade and Nyla put it to her. They run down the Rampage card. They run down the buy-in and the pay-per-view. There's now 2 matches for the buy-in, the Women's Battle Royal, and then a big, huge, like 8 or 10-person tag thing with the Hardy Family Office against, Jurassic Express, and it's a lot of people and the Best Friends. So we get a package about Jericho and MJF. Really cool. Go to commercial. We come back. Jurassic Express and Lucha Brothers against the Elite. It's exactly what you think it would be. Really, the baby faces getting to shine, really show their stuff. At the end of the day, though, the Elite, thanks to outside interference and cheat-in, they hit their indie taker on Rey Fenix and get the pin. Omega comes to the ring. He's being a jerk. They do the magic killer on Luchasaurus through a table. Christian Cage comes to try and help. They beat him up. Then they lower the cage, trapping the contenders for the world titles, the Lucha Brothers and Christian, in the cage, and they're beating them up. Everybody's trying to climb the cage to help. I thought at least that was good. They were sending baby faces and fighting them off in a big bad way. And that's how we went to our go home. Cool. So a good episode of Dynamite, but, again, they just have this thing about whenever they do a trope, they do it 2 or 3 times a show, and this was no exception. I get that it's a pay-per-view that they're setting up, but eventually they're going to have to find a way to be more clever.